Hey there, I'm Lisa Cummings from Lead Through Strengths, and I wanted to offer this answer to the question, should I use DISC or should I use StrengthsFinder with my team? I get this question all the time where people are doing assessments or surveys and they say, there are so many tools to choose from, StrengthsFinder, DISC, Myers-Briggs, Hogan, what do I pick? The ones that I hear about most often are DISC and StrengthsFinder, so I'll address that one. My bottom line, my preference, after having facilitated both, is StrengthsFinder. The reason why I like it the best, really there are two main reasons for me. One is very high acceptance and excitement from participants when you do this as a training and a culture building process that follows on. And then the second is that the tool is complex and simple all at the same time. So to break those both down, the acceptance from participants. If I contrast this, when I used to facilitate DISC, I would have the people who would walk in the room and say, yeah, I don't want to be put in a box. This is frustrating. There's more to me than this. And people would feel limited by it. Even though there are more than just the 4 categories, when you get into the tool more deeply, people see those 4 categories and often will put up resistors, and they'll also use them as labels to each other. Oh, you're a driver. That means you're mean. Oh, you get the point. Dominant is actually the D. And so you have that concept where people are putting up resistance, whereas in StrengthsFinder, the language is framed positively. And so instantly they're reading the report going, yeah, this is good stuff about me. These are things I can do in the workplace, and I hadn't even thought of them as special talents. So the immediate reaction from people and the way that they're willing to accept the conversations that follow really changes the success of the implementation. So I think it's huge, just the framing of it. And I use a concept called notice what works to get more of what works. And StrengthsFinder is really framed in that kind of language. It talks a lot about what you do well so that those are your shortcuts to super performance. When you use other tools like DISC or Hogan, for example, there are pretty heavy elements on derailers, blind spots, etc. And although I think those are really valuable conversations to have, the way that StrengthsFinder allows you to introduce them is a lot more accepted by participants. Because of the way the report is written, then the follow-on training and coaching and things you do behind it, you can really get into those without people putting up resistance first. So that's reason number 1 I like it the most. Reason number 2 is I said it was complex and simple at the same time. Well, the instrument itself, as a survey tool, the assessment has over 4 decades of research scientists behind it, really making this tool valid and reliable. And I can get you the validity and reliability stats and all those kinds of things if you're into that sort of thing. But moreover, what I'm really talking about is the language. So the language is super simple. The conversations that follow the survey taking are super simple. But it is also complex at the same time, both in the design and the fact that the chances that anyone else would have the same top 5 StrengthsFinder talents that you have, the chances are 1 in 33 million. So when people hear stats like that, they go, oh my gosh, this is really honoring my uniqueness as a person. And they love that about it. And at the same time, it gives you really simple language that's easy to talk about and easy to have follow-on conversations to figure out how these are showing up at work, how you can leverage them more, and go really deep with the conversation. Both of those things, the complex tool that is really simple to use, and the fact that participants are really accepting and open when they read the reports, those create an environment that totally change the dynamic of how these get used in the organization to create culture, to sustain the well-roundedness you're trying to build as a team. So that's why, personally, I choose StrengthsFinder as my top tool for working with teams.